Absolutely, absolutely. How you doing?
Hey,
Hey, what's up, Randy? How are you? Oh, I'm doing all
let's
right.
see.
Doing all right.
So we're coming from that's your bedroom there, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
That's
We're in Randy's living room and your bedroom.
yeah. Well, it almost looks the same, except you got lots of nice guitars and everything, and all types of cool things. I got cool things too, but not as cool as what you have.
This corner of his living room is always a great place because that looks good,
Yeah. It does. It does. Yeah. Well, I'm excited to do this with you again. I mean, it's been since
Where are you?
I'm in northern Minnesota.
You're in northern Minnesota. Wow.
Minnesota.
Wow. I have an interesting story from Minneapolis.
Oh, okay.
A long time ago, I have this guitar. It's the first Floyd Rose. Floyd Rose used to be my sound man for people who know about guitars, but and I had the first Floyd Rose, and it was on this guitar it broke. I broke a string during the show, and I didn't realize it, but it happened right towards the end of the show. And we put the guitar down in the stand, and then I picked up number 2 to you're gone.
Oh, it's just somebody's trying to call.
Oh, that's yeah.
Klein.
There you go.
You're back.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And anyway, so I put the guitar down, and someone stole it. They ran out the front door with it, and I ran after them, but I couldn't catch them. I was in my bare feet, and they got on some railroad tracks, and I just couldn't get any traction.
Sons of bitches,
anyway,
I tell you.
So I came back, and I was really upset. I got back in the club, and I was like, adrenaline was pumping, and I was angry, and I went over to, I could never do this again, but I went over, little me went over to a pay pool table, and I clean and jerked one half of the pool table up in the air. And then I started yelling for the club owner to put $800 on it. And I said, you put $800 on this table or it's going over.
Oh, wow.
And he wrote he goes, I'll write you a check. And he said, put the table down. I said, I'll put the table down when you put the check on the table. And I held it up there until he wrote it, and then he brought it back, and then I put the table down, that end of the table down. And then, and later on, I tried to do this when I calmed down, and I could not even hardly lift the thing,
Sure.
I was just seeing red, and but anyway, a year later, the same guy that stole the guitar, he didn't know how to change the string on it because it was a new contraption. And he brought it back to the same club and tried to sell it to the club owner a year later, almost to the day.
Oh, wow.
The club owner, I left a picture with it, and I left an impression too,
Yeah.
And he said, hey, wait right here, I'll write you a check. And he went in there and called the cops, and then they took the guy away. And then I came back a year later to play the club, and they said, hey, I got your guitar. And so I gave him $800 and I got my guitar back.
There you go. Wow.
And that happened in Minneapolis.
Oh, geez. Wow, Minneapolis.
The same club where Wendy O. Williams got punched out by the police.
Oh, okay. I don't remember. I'm not really too familiar with more southern Minnesota, just because I never really go down there. I'm planning on going down there later this summer, but it's been a long time since I've been in there. I'm more used to like the Black Hills, because that's where I used to live in Rapid City, South Dakota. That's the last time we spoke. It was December of 2017, so it's been a little while, and I know you've been up to some good projects and stuff, and the fact that you're still doing what you're doing, man. I just like you told me a few years ago that you're never going to stop until you have to. So I'm really it's awesome.
Until it's not possible anymore.
Yeah.
I just keep going.
Until he's doing it in heaven.
Yeah. With Jimi himself, right?
I got a pretty indication of that from my father died when he was 42 and in a car wreck, and his brother was almost like they look like carbon copies of each other almost.
Sure.
And he lived to be 95. And at 95, he died of a urinary tract infection, but at 95, he could run in place and get his knees about up to his waist when he ran in place. And I was going at 95, if he can do that at 95, then there's no reason why I can't keep going unless something else gives out, you know. It would have to be my fingers would have to go out.
Oh, sure.
Or my brain, or, you know,
Yeah.
something wrong in my head or something. Hey, who knows?
Well, it's nice to know that that hasn't happened yet. You know, it's nice to know that
Yeah.
you're able to still, you know, keep rocking. Because I watched some of your videos from recent trips to Texas, and man, I tell you, you know, it's like listen, like I closed my eyes when I was listening to your first set. What was it? The Jimi Hendrix cover of oh, I forget this first song that you did, but it was like you did an acoustic show, I believe.
Oh yeah. Oh, we did Sergeant Pepper first.
Okay.
And then I think we played Fire.
Okay.
And after Fire, I'm not sure. I think we played Are You Experienced too, didn't we?
I think it's something Lonesome Train. I think like the maybe. Mr.
Oh, Hear My Train Coming.
Yeah. That was the song.
We did Machine Gun too. We did Machine Gun.
Well, and, I just heard that song when Kevin did the video.
If 6 was 9, if 6 was 9 was fun in there because the place was super echoey and it starts out bam bam, you know, and it just echoed through there like that. I was going, wow, listen to that. That's cool.
Well, I appreciate having you on, and this should be a lot of fun. And Kevin, again, thank you for letting this happen, because you know, you guys don't have to let a little guy like me, you know, interrupt your life.
Yes,
you know?
we do.
I can tell this isn't your first rodeo.
No, I've been doing this since 2006, but you know, as I tell a lot of people, and I'm not looking for sympathy or anything like that, because I'm as real comes. I'm not gonna BS anybody or whatever. You know, compared to me, you look more of a professional than I do. Not just because of my background or whatever, just because for me, things haven't been that. Life hasn't been as. It's fun, but it's not as fun because the big F word, financial, doesn't seem to work in what I'm trying to do. But it seems like it works for everybody else when they do stuff like this. So I don't understand it. But for you, you know, I mean, you could walk down the street and people probably recognize you and have you play a tune or whatever. And it's like, man, you know, that would be kind of nice just to be. I mean, I've been recognized a little bit. I'm not trying to do it for fame or whatever. I do it because I love all this stuff.
I wish I knew how to do it. I've always wanted to kind of do that, but then I'd become your competition, and you don't need that.
Well, there's so much competition, but I look at everybody who's an interviewer as somebody who's just, you know, probably very skilled in communication and really love to talk to people, and that's always been my love. I always wondered back in the day, like when, you know, listen to old radio shows and stuff, how do they do what they do? How does that happen? How do you make a station work and broadcast and all that stuff? And I learned I learned a lot throughout the course of time that, you know, I decided because of how popular the Zoom app has become and just because of the pandemic and everything, I figure, why don't we do some video interviews? I've done plenty of radio interviews, plenty of phone interviews, but let's do some video interviews. So it'll be fun to do this. I'll set off with a little introduction. So we're just pre-recording. I was going to do it live on Facebook, but for some reason, Facebook's just being a bastard tonight. They don't want. I guess I set my limit. I've been streaming too much. Like 480 minutes is all they allow me to stream. So I'm record. This will go on you.
I always wonder who makes those decisions. Like I always wonder who makes those decisions for those places.
Well, whoever does is kind of a fuck up. I tell you, they should just allow everybody.
You didn't pay somebody enough money.
See,
the guys that get the minutes probably paid. You know,
I thought Facebook was more like, you know, you could invite everybody. You know, there was no share limits. There's no, you know, you could have as many friends as you want, but there's limits on everything. So it's just whatever, you know. But anyway, this will be on YouTube, and the quality of the YouTube video when Kevin sees this, and maybe he'll show you or whatever, will be a lot better than the stream anyway. There will be no audio sync or anything problems or anything like that. So, all right. So I'll start off with a little introduction.
See myself in the corner there.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Frankie Slauson, and welcome to a special edition, a pre-recorded edition of the Frankie Slauson Show, right here. Well, it's on YouTube as you see this, and we are joined today by somebody who I haven't spoken with since like December of 2017, and somebody that I've known for quite a while, like because I've I followed his career, and I know that he's worked with like some good people that I've had on the show before and all that as well. And this guy is very talented. You would swear up and down that he is Jimi Hendrix, like the real deal Jimi Hendrix. But unfortunately, he is not Jimi Hendrix, but he is a tribute artist that does a tribute to Jimi Hendrix. And ladies and gentlemen, I give you the legendary Randy Hansen. Randy, welcome to the show.
Yeah. It's okay for you to call me a tribute artist, but the thing about, when I started doing Jimi was when I started doing this, what I do that I've been doing ever since then, it was 1975. And there weren't any tribute bands out, not a one. And so it was what I lucked out really incredibly because I was the only tribute band on the planet. And so I got a lot of opportunities to play with big name artists and be on big stages where I really didn't deserve to be, really.
Sure.
But because I was such a novelty, they decided to throw me up there anyway, and so I got to play in some really great places. I played in front of 75,000 people on a day on the green. And I don't know any other tribute artists that have even played on the day on the green, but also I had a record out on Capitol Records at the time too. So I was not only doing Hendrix, but I was doing my own music too, which I continue to do both.
Well, you've been doing it a long time then. I mean, because that's why I would call you kind of a legend because you've dedicated yourself for a very long time. I mean, in 1975, that's another few years. That's gonna be 50 years.
Yeah, I didn't really thought of it, but I want to go. I'm trying to go until I'm seriously. My goal is 100 years old. And want to be on stage at 100 and be able to perform a song, and then the next day drop dead. I think. I don't know.
Oh wow! No. Yeah, how many people do you know that be 100 and want to be on the stage? I mean, other than if you were like George Burns or Bob Hope or whatever, I guess.
Yeah, I want to be like them. I think that there's somebody in rock has got to do that, But it seems like a lot of people in this business, in music business, are in a hurry to die early, or something. But I really want to last somehow, so I take it easy on myself, and I can't drink. I really don't drink because I'm too small, If I have 2 drinks, then I get immediately stupid. So I just want to do it,
So if you happen to live to 100. Where do you see yourself doing your final performance? In Seattle, probably?
Probably, yeah. If I'm in Seattle, most likely I wouldn't be traveling around too much at
worldwide tour.
The Seattle Paramount is where I'd want to do it because that's where it really all began for me in Seattle, where a lot of people came to. I still hold a record there at the Paramount. It's for the only unsigned act to sell out the Paramount 2 nights in a row.
Oh, okay. Wow. So you broke some records and stuff, or made some records. That's
But that, like I said, that was because what I was doing wasn't being done by anybody before. Yeah. And I happened to pick Jimi Hendrix because I thought he was the greatest of all the stars of that era. I thought he was king,
Sure.
So I just thought. Not only that, but I just loved his playing, and I was always intrigued about it. And I had learned a lot of it before I ever even thought of doing a tribute to him.
So did you, since you say Jimi Hendrix was like one of your picks, did you have any other people in mind that you were going to tribute, or was it just Jimi?
Oh, through the years, yeah, there's other people that I thought of. It would be neat to do some of their music too. Joe Walsh, Deep Purple, John McLaughlin. There's all kinds of other guitar players who I really respect, and I learned a little bit of each of them. Eddie Van Halen and I were good friends. In fact, I showed Eddie the Floyd Rose. He's the one that he came to see me because they wrote an article about me, a guitar player. I showed the Floyd Rose off in that article, and then Eddie read it and came to see us play at the Whiskey.
Oh wow!
And I showed it to him, and he put it on all of his guitars and everything. We became good friends, and he was a really cool guy. You know, I really miss him. You know, and it tore me up when he died. And also Stevie Ray Vaughan, who used to open for me in Austin, Texas, when he died too. So it's like, that's another reason why I want to live really long, is because there's so many of my friends who did, you know, and this business eats them up, you know, somehow. And I don't know, you got to really be careful.
So Stevie Ray Vaughan opened for you, as big as he must have been in his early days.
Austin, every time except the last time I played in Austin, by that time he had made a name for himself.
Okay.
But before that, he was like a hometown hero when I played with him.
Okay. Well, that makes sense then, you know, and I suppose just the experience, you know, working together, and I know that you guys both love Jimi Hendrix, you know, because obviously in his sets he would do some Jimi Hendrix tunes that went over with the crowd. So did you guys ever jam together?
We jammed a lot at his house. Just he and I. He lived in a little house like the one I live in. It's pretty small.
Okay.
And everything. We went over there after gigs and jammed on his guitars, and I always complained that his strings were too heavy. They just, because I couldn't bend them. He bends them. He's got really strong hands.
Yeah.
Or he had really super strong hands, and so he could bend them like. But I'd get on his guitar and I just felt weak.
Yeah. And by bending, you mean like, does that just make the sound better or something? Or
just bending, being able to bend the strings. It's like, you know, the difference between bending a string and bending a cable.
Okay.
It's just like, you know, when you bend the string up, you know, like.
I've heard the term before, but I didn't know what they meant by that.
Doing bends like that, you know.
Oh, okay.
His guitar was damn near impossible.
Okay.
But not for him, it wasn't impossible. So that always blew me away, how strong his hands were. And he thought that a heavier gauge string would equal a more definite note, I think.
Huh.
You know.
Sure. Well, I guess that makes sense. You know, even like, you know, I like to get into like the home theater and stuff like that. And they always say I think it's either the bigger gauge of wires are better, or the smaller gauge bit better. I don't know, something with wire anyway. But that's pretty cool though. I mean, you know, that you could, you know, share that experience that most people probably only would dream of, you know, when you got,
Stevie and I had some funny ones too. I mean, I used to wear an Afro wig for my show, and after the show, he tied it onto his head, kind of cockeyed, and we're just walking around with my wig on his head, and we tripped on through Austin he kept it on his head. We went into a pizza place and got a pitcher of beer, and we split it, and then we left there, and he wandered in. He wandered into where his brother was playing with the Fabulous Thunderbirds, and tried to introduce me to his brother, but his brother took one look at him and said, "Man, I've told you many times not to come in here drunk, Stevie." You know, and he's all pissed off at him and everything. And Steve's going, no, I want to introduce you to someone. And he's not even thinking he's still got this wig tied to his head, you know. And his brother's just giving him and me like really weird looks, like, "Oh man, did you get my brother drunk?" kind of look, you know. And he shook my hand. "Yeah, nice to meet you." And then he went back to berating him, you know. And then we left and went back to his house.
What a memory, huh?
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Jeez. Well, I know that a while back ago, you guys, or I think from what Cameron was telling me, like your son put together a very cool short documentary. I watched that just recently on YouTube, and it's a couple of years old, but it still tells a very good story about you and your passion for music.
Yeah, he did that all on his own, really. You know, I invited him to come along with us to Europe. I wanted to bring him to Europe one time, you know.
Yeah.
So he came in and stayed with us on the tour, and that's how he just documented everything, and then also helped move equipment and everything. It was great having him out there. You know, I've always wanted to have my son out with me on the road, you know. Hopefully another time have him out there playing with me.
Oh, sure.
He plays drums, and he's
Huh.
a pretty good drummer.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
he does a lot of other things though too. He's pretty famous for a lot of paintings around town. He just got published in the Wall Street Journal for one of the paintings that he made.
Oh.
A guy there, they had this episode in Seattle where they took over Capitol Hill and everything, and one kid got killed up there, and he painted a picture of him on one of the silver boxes that control the traffic, you know, the street light,
Uh-huh.
you know, on the corner. He painted a picture of him on one of those, and then the Wall Street Journal called him up and wanted to know if it was okay, because they were doing an article about it, and is it okay if we use your painting and everything. And he's done many of them all over town. He's got a bunch of articles in Seattle about his painting.
Wow.
Famous Seattleites and just famous people, and also like George Floyd, and you know, people that have made contributions, and people that are, you know, that shouldn't be forgotten, I guess, you know.
Sure.
He even did one of me.
I remember that. Yeah, I think I saw that like in a video or something like that. I believe you and Kevin were doing an interview or something like that.
I was stopping traffic and pointing it out, you know, going, hey, that's me right there. Hey, check it out. It was fun.
That's pretty cool to have a talented son. I mean, the talent just kind of runs in the family, I suppose, huh?
Yeah. Oh, well, I guess so. You know, it's kind of on my father's side. Like I said, his brother drew a lot. He made a big impression on me when I was really little, and it made me want to draw it. And so I drew and paint, and I do a lot of artwork myself. But my son has gotten really, really good.
Oh.
I mean, he's a graffiti artist actually, and but he's a really good graffiti artist. You know, it's not one of these hack guys. He's like amazing with what he can do with a spray can. It just blows me up. All of his paintings of people have been done with spray cans.
Oh.
You know,
Okay.
so, and he makes it look like a picture. So I don't know. I've never really watched him from minute one doing this.
Uh-huh.
I've seen a little bit of it, but he's always had it, you know, he calls me up and say, hey, I'm doing a pit. You want to come down, you know? And so I'll go there. And by the time I get there, he's almost done, you know, like, so I get to see a little bit of what he's doing, but for the most part, it's just amazing to me how he comes up with it.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, yeah, no, that's awesome that he's able to be talented and continue his passion, and the people of Seattle appreciate it.
And I'm really proud. I'm super proud of him, you know, that he's my son. I'm really proud to say he's my son. He's got his heart. Yeah. He's got his heart together, and it's in the right place.
Oh, that's awesome.
You know, yeah. He actually did when he was a kid, you know, he got in trouble for his graffiti, you know, with the law, you know.
Yeah, I imagine.
And now they're paying him for it, you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what happens. It seems like that's you know, you just never know. You just never know what, you know, what a passion, where it can lead you.
Now he knows the mayor. He knows the mayor because of all this, because he got in touch with the mayor and wanted to know it's all right if he does, and then showed her pictures of what he was doing, and everything. And then she gave him his blessing and a piece of paper that said, you know, for everyone that he does, you know, he gets another piece of paper dated. So if the police come by and go, hey, what are you doing? He just, hey, check it out, and then they leave him alone.
Oh, sure.
Before he, you know, would it be a quick painting and then run away.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Well, that's awesome to hear. It's good to know that good things are happening for you and your family, because you know, and I don't like to get political on my show and all that at all, but you know, the world's.
And then my daughter is she's a writer. She's been writing since she was a kid, and she's written about, I don't know, 5 or 6 novels right now. She writes writes romance novels. Before that, she was reviewing sports and stuff. Like she likes sports stars.
Oh, okay.
And so she was reviewing even, championship wrestling.
Oh, okay.
Like that.
Yeah.
I think she liked the way those guys look.
Especially nowadays compared to maybe back 30 years ago, huh?
Yeah.
They look a little bit better now, because they're, take more care of themselves. And I mean, they always took care of themselves, but it's like, the way everybody's shaped now, I don't know. It's different.
Right.
I know that you had a good relationship with Sam Kinison. I just did an interview with Bill Kinison this last week, actually. And yeah, he came on. That was a surprise because there's a guy named Screaming Sam, aka his name is John Lutz. I don't know if you know him or if you've ever seen him before, but he's out like in Ohio, the Ohio area, and he used to do like a Screaming Sam, like a tribute to Sam Kinison, and it's the only one that Bill Kinison ever really approved. As far as like,
he sounds exactly like him. I know who he is. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I had him on the show, and Bill was telling me that he just commented on a post that I made the other day about this interview that you and I were doing, and he just says hello, and hope you're doing well.
God, if you talk to Bill, tell him I said hi. I miss everybody.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of weird, how sometimes these connections work, but it's like, because I do remember seeing you in a Sam Kinison video, a comedy video anyway, like one of his live things that he did. So.
Oh right. Hey, I got a bit of news for you too. There's a little off the subject, but
right.
there was some, since we're on a podcast, Joe Rogan was doing a podcast a little while ago, and he had a couple guys on that were claiming to have a computer that writes Hendrix songs and also sings them, right?
Oh, okay.
And so my son heard this, and he called me up and he said, "You got to go on YouTube and check this out, Dad." He goes, "It's a computer that writes Hendrix songs and it sings them too." And I was like, "Okay, I'll go check it out." And so I went to it, and I'm watching it, and I'm going, "This sounds familiar." And then I went, "Wait a minute. This sounds familiar because about 3 months ago, I recorded this song with they sent me this song with another guy's voice on it, and then a copy without the voice."
Uh-huh.
And then they asked me to sing over it.
Okay.
And so I did. And now I'm listening to it on Joe Rogan's show, and it's me singing. It's not a computer singing like they claimed.
Uh-huh.
It's not a computer singing that. It's me. And so I called my son back and I said, "Hey, that's not a computer voice, Desmond." And he goes, "Yes, it is, Dad." And I said, I hate to burst your bubble, but no, it's not." And he goes, "How do you know?" And I said, "Because it's me." I recorded that at Kenny K's house 3 months ago. They paid me $500 or something, to do it. And
so why did they think it was a computer? Just because they sound just like Jimi?
Well, they said they were claiming that their computer wrote this song and also sang it.
Okay.
And on the Joe Rogan show, they're claiming this.
Uh-huh.
And
yeah.
I'm like, I need to talk to Joe Rogan. For one, he really loves Sam Kinison. He loves Stevie Ray Vaughan, and he loves Jimi Hendrix. I'm going like, I need to talk to Joe Rogan.
Uh-huh.
And also now I really need to talk to him because you've had somebody come on your show and flim-flam you. That's not right. They shouldn't be. Not only that, but they played it, and that's my voice on there, and I don't get any credit for it. I'm like, wait a minute. That kind of made me angry.
Oh, sure.
Because they just said, "We want you to sing this song, and we want you to see if you can make it sound like Jimi." And I go, that's not a problem for me. I could make Sugar.
Oh yeah, sure.
It doesn't matter. But so I went ahead and did it. Because we're in a pandemic, and I needed the money. So, and then they go on there claiming this, to get attention for their song.
Uh-huh.
Which, and if they want some more attention, get me on the Joe Rogan show. I'll get him some real attention.
Sure.
You know, it's like I want to talk about that. You know, and let's maybe bring them on too, so I can.
Oh yeah,
say,
absolutely.
hey, guys, that wasn't very cool of you to do that. It was me on there. You know.
Yeah.
Look me out.
So you haven't talked to him yet, though. This just
No.
happened, or okay.
No, I don't want to let them know what I'm thinking. I want to get to Joe Rogan.
Okay.
I mean,
Well,
he's probably heard of me, maybe, you know, through Sam Kinison or one of the people, you know,
sure.
or Stevie Ray Vaughan or whatever, or just because I do Hendrix.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's kind of strange. I mean, and who knows what else, you know, of yours has been floating around, because, you know, in all your songs, no matter if it's an original composition or whatever, or something that Jimmy did, I mean, you definitely know how to make stuff sound like Jimi Hendrix. I mean, I was listening to your album Funtown, you know, and that's a great album.
You like that?
I do.
All right, you know, that's my favorite thing I've ever come up with on my own, you know. So I got to play everything, all the instruments on it, except for one song my son played drums on.
Sure.
It's called the song called the Pain.
Okay. But it sounds like something Jimmy would have done. You know, like in that style. Like it's amazing
Right.
how it's almost like you hear Jimmy more. I mean, not to eliminate you, because your work is fantastic.
Oh,
You
know
know?
what? I love having my name mentioned in the same sentence as Jimi Hendrix. You know, I always will. Since I started doing this, I got warned by a lot of people. Hey, you know, people are going to be shoving Jimi Hendrix's name in your face throughout your career. And I said, and that sounded good to me. I was like, really? And they're warning me, and I'm going like, well, I don't know if you realize this, but I like that idea.
Yeah.
I like the idea of anytime I can get someone to mention his name, because the guy saved my life after my father died, you know.
Sure.
And it really, you know, it gave me a direction.
Oh, absolutely.
And also, you know, I learned so many morals from his music, and you know, there's a good message in his music, where there's kind of crazy messages going around in music now. You know, a lot of it is about making money, or you know, or killing people.
Yeah.
or whatever, you know.
Or how
you know, I don't really like metal music because most of it seems to be hateful. You know,
or it's about like how you look. Like everybody wants to be with their shirt off or whatever, because they're all about sex and music, you know. Even though that's always been a thing, but it still seems like it's worse now than it ever was.
Yeah. Hey, we're all just a great, big, huge, gigantic family spinning around on a big, gigantic golf ball.
Yeah. That sounds about right, for sure. Yeah, I mean, no, I've just really been always impressed with your music. I've listened to the Funtown album, and then you have a couple other albums on Spotify that I've listened to, because I always like listening to obscure music. That's been my biggest thing. I hate listening to the hits. Nothing against Jimmy's hits, because Jimmy's hits are great, but Jimmy's deep tracks, to me, are even better. You know?
Yeah, and they keep coming up with new stuff. I just heard something today I'd never heard. It was an extension of Blue Suede Shoes.
Oh.
And it's on a record, the beginning of it, but then it keeps going, and then they get back into the jam, and it goes on. And I was just jamming with it today, and I thought, wow, I'm going to be jamming with this one a few times, because it just goes a lot of places. You know, can tell that they're experimenting and everything, and it seriously goes on for a good 30 minutes or something of just pure jamming. It's band of gypsies too, so
yeah,
it sounded great. I think also there's the harp player for who wrote Lowrider.
Oh, War? Well, I don't know if they wrote it, but War.
You can hear him in the background blowing harp. It's in the studio. It's the studio, and very clear sounding. And Jimmy's singing real loud. It's really good.
Yeah.
Never heard it before till today.
Jeez. Is that something though, with all the stuff that he's done, that, you know, is like I remember listening to his early stuff with was it like either this guy named Lonnie Mitchell or Lenny Anderson or some
Oh
guy.
yeah.
Yeah, the early stuff, like
Knight.
before he became, Chris, yeah. And that to me was like, wow. I mean, why don't they play this stuff on the radio? Why does it have to be the same stuff all the time? Why can't they go deeper in his vault? You know,
They should play "Get That Feeling," you know, because that was really a cool track.
yeah.
That was what grabbed my attention because I actually bought that record before I bought "Are You Experienced," just because I liked the cover.
Uh-huh.
And then the guy that headed me towards a Hendrix album didn't tell me which one to buy. So I went back and told him which album I bought. He goes, "Oh man, you bought the wrong album." And so then I would buy it back, and I traded that album in for "Are You Experienced?" And then it was like, oh my God. You know, just like everyone who first heard that album went, this is, whoa, what the hell is this?
It's Jimi, man. It's just what he wanted. It's just, I think he kind of had an idea of, what he wanted to do, and if he would have still been around, I can only imagine what his life would have been like, continuing music. I would have still done the drugs and everything, but I think after a while, who knows how big of a popularity he would have had, even bigger than Elvis.
He would have gone out and sought out every musician that he had any respect for, and worked with them. He would have done something with Miles Davis for sure. He wanted to work with ELP too, Emerson, Lake and Palmer. I think he really liked Keith Emerson. I'll bet when he heard Keith Emerson, he thought we could work together, hearing the synthesizer for the first time.
Sure.
Lucky Man, because I remember when I heard Lucky Man also, I was like, what is this? When you first time hearing a Moog synthesizer, whoa, that was really something back then.
And do you think that if Patty's still been alive, like obviously you probably wouldn't have done a tribute, or maybe you probably would have, even if he still would have been alive. Do you think maybe you guys would have performed together or worked on something?
Me and Jimi?
Yeah, if given the opportunity.
Yeah, after you woke me up from fainting. Yeah.
Well, you never know, because I mean, it's like, just imagine if things were different and he would have been alive, and I'm sure, he would be up there in age right now, but through your career and his career, I'm sure you would have met up somehow, somewhere.
Well, I know he saw me because when I saw him, I was standing directly underneath him in the front row of Sixth Stadium, and I was the closest person to him in that show and everything, because I was just a little kid, and there was no one to stop me from going where I wanted to go. And so I just squeezed my way right up front in front of everyone. And because I was a little shrimpy kid, they were like, "Oh, come on out here, kid. Check out Jimi," and I was already playing the guitar. I was just finally seeing him. And it was the last time that he played in Seattle in 1970.
Okay.
And it was raining out, and the water was dripping off the toes of his boots right onto my forehead. And it made it hard to see a lot of times. I kept having to wipe my eyes, and then I just got a total earful of him that day, and seeing him, from a very weird angle.
Yeah.
Very weird, completely looking. I got a very sore neck after watching that show because I couldn't keep looking up, like that. After a while, your neck gets so sore.
Well, you know what he was trying to do when you were a little kid and you went to go see him. He was slowly anointing you. Here's what he was doing, getting you all ready for what's to come. Getting you ready for kind of blessing you, kind of his own special way. If you said the waters come off his boots or
yeah, I know he was looking. I saw him looking down, and it appeared to me like he was looking at me.
Yeah.
I was thrilled, just finally seeing Jimi Hendrix. Wow. It only cost $6.
Yeah. Compared to now, where it's like $1,000 just to meet somebody sometimes,
How much money do you think the richest guy in the world would pay to see Jimi Hendrix alive today?
I bet you the guy would probably get in for free if he was rich, more likely.
Yeah,
more likely.
He'd be the promoter.
Yeah. Well, at least with you, I'm sure, I'm sure people can come say hi to you, and when you do a show and stuff like that, I'm sure you're you know, I know we've been through a pandemic and everything, but prior to that and after the fact, that you seem like a people person, like you care about people and
Oh
stuff.
yeah, I love people. You know, it's a little it's a little strange for me because you know I learned the music bit and I get a lot of pats on the back for it and everything, and that's it's nice, but it's I still feel like I'm a little more fortunate just because of who I'm aligned with.
Uh-huh.
You know, so people, you know, I know that if there was some guy out there when I was a kid, I thought if somebody else could play like Jimi Hendrix, I'd just beat a path to their door, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it might have played into this a little bit too, me keeping going, because also I knew that if I chose Jimi to do this with my life, you know, that I probably would still have a job for my entire life. Whereas
Sure.
if I concentrated solely on my own music, I think my career would be over soon.
Oh, so you don't think that your music would have really has really gone anywhere, even though it probably has a little bit?
I don't think I could have said anything better than the man himself, you know. So
Okay.
he kind of spoke for me, and so it made it difficult for me to say anything without feeling like I was reiterating what he said. You
Sure,
know, so
sure.
why do that when it's already said the best by this guy? So I'll just go out and try to be a substitute teacher, I guess.
Well, it's nice to know that have taken the time to make some original music anyway, though, just so you
Yeah,
have
well,
something.
I do have my musical ideas, and I like to stretch out, and because you know with Jimi, the thing about playing Jimi is there's so much room to improvise, and I now you know I've learned to improvise in the vein of Jimi Hendrix, so that we can just play like a show that would be like his show, not like most tribute bands, they tend to play the music exactly what's on the record. And I used to do that, but that got old just like it did for Jimi, and he started to stretch out, and that's what I ended up doing too. And now when I play, it's like seeing a Jimi Hendrix show that maybe when he reaches the age of 66.
Yeah,
Maybe.
there you go. There you go.
You
There you
know?
go.
And
Yeah, I
also
mean, yeah.
and also I'm trying to influence fashion here.
Oh yeah, I see some nice boots here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're
That's,
bringing it back.
oh yeah. Well, you look at like you were the Steve Ray or not Steve Ray Vaughan, but Steven Van Zandt. Not Steven Van Zandt.
Yeah,
Little Steven's Underground. You know that guy. Yeah, yeah,
I'm a little on the short side.
yeah,
And now
yeah.
if I wear these now when they're out of style, then I don't have to be so short. But if they come into style, then everybody has them on, and then I'm back to being short again.
Oh, sure, sure, sure. No, I mean that makes sense. I mean, but it fits you though. I mean, it's like it's you know, you're trying to do a tribute, and you know, you should live the character a little bit because I'm sure Jimmy, you know, you seen how he used to dress, and even when he wasn't performing, I mean, he didn't just wear a shirt and a hat and whatever or pants.
Yeah,
He
you
went
know,
out.
after I get done doing this, I'm going to do a Bay City Rollers thing.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. There you go. Go up and do some roller skating. There you go.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just have to hike the pants up a little bit, you know, then it looks just like
Absolutely. 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 So, I mean, with everything that you've done in your life, I mean, you have a lot to be proud of. So, I mean, I suppose if you decided that you were to be done, even though you're not, and thankfully for that.
there's a movie coming out. It's a Mark Wahlberg movie.
Uh-huh.
It'll be out in the fall and everything, and I did some soundtrack for it.
I heard that Kevin was telling me about that because I talked to Kevin here a couple of days
Yeah.
ago. We kind of chatted a little bit. Yeah. I suppose you can't tell me the name of the movie. I suppose that's kind of a secret. I suppose. Huh?
No, it's called Infinite.
Infinite. Okay. Well, that's
Infinite.
cool. Did
Yeah,
he?
it's about a guy. It's about a guy who having deja vu's, and he's realizing they're from a former life, that he was Jimi Hendrix in a former life.
Oh wow.
That's what the movie's about, I guess. I haven't seen any of it. That's just what I was told about.
And Mark Wahlberg's gonna be playing Jimi Hendrix, or he's gonna be.
I don't know. I think he's directing. I don't know.
Oh, so it's
He
okay.
might be in the movie. Oh, I guess he is in the movie.
Yeah. Well,
See,
of
I
course.
don't know. My manager knows more than I do.
Yeah, and speaking of manager, I want to get him on board here because you have a very nice, very friendly manager that you guys have been doing this for a long time, and
that's a good thing.
I would be so happy if I had somebody like that in my life that just cared so much about me, that wanted to see me be successful through the ups, downs, everything.
We started out as friends, and everything, and gradually we ended up in business together. So and been working together for many years now, way since I was a young man.
Oh, I remember. I saw some videos flashing through YouTube of you guys smoking pot together at some concerts way back when. So with some 9-year-olds. So
that couldn't have been me.
no, it was somebody else. It was Jimmy. He was happened to dead there. No, it's just kind of nice to keep a friendship because some people, when they're in management, they like to screw over their talent, or the talent wants to screw over the management. It's always about money or relationships or whatever, and it's just like.
Well, it's good, if you can find somebody in the music business to trust that'll try to get you work or whatever they're doing, manage you. If you can find someone that you can trust, that's a major find, because it's not easy to find somebody like that in this business.
Sure.
A lot of people for themselves, and I don't know. We've always worked well together. Never have any problems.
The managed thing is just that the management thing. It's just a label. I don't manage him. He manages himself. I just help him do what he wants. That's the thing. So I don't try to. I don't know anything. So it's not like. So it's always, we got to put some label on it. They call me manager.
Well, see, I'm kind of connected here, so
really, he's got what to do. Really, he's got a gun to my head. I have to do this. He's gonna kill me.
That sounds about right. Yeah. He's
so
a mob boss.
You don't want to end up in Puget Sound,
Yeah. You don't want me to whack you.
Don't want to swim with the fishes.
Yeah. We don't whack each other. But either way, it's still nice, and it's nice to know that good things are still happening, because it's just nice. So appreciate it.
I'm really the lucky one in that situation, because I always look back and go, it's been since 1984 I've done this, and I always wonder what the hell my life would have been, not the fun that I've had, to travel the world, everything I've done because of what I got to do. Man, I'm the lucky one here. He had this talent. He was going to do this anyway. I would have just worked at, some job, So I'm really the fortunate one here in this situation.
Well, wait a minute. I foresee your other road would have been Kevin FILLO's stripper palace.
Uh-oh. God damn it, you stole that from
me. Stripper palace. Oh, that's just what we need right now. Yeah. I want to see I want a corn dog. I want to see something naked. I tell you, geez, that's what. That's funny. So, I don't really have any more questions, I guess. I just want to say thank you very much for allowing me to do this with you again. And
if you want to do it again, let me know.
Yeah, don't take so long next time.
Well, I was surprised you guys would say
2017
yes.
Since we heard from you.
Yeah. Well, if you guys ever get your asses over to Minnesota, then come. Then we'll do something.
I told you I'm going to try to get one closer to you. I'm going to try to find one.
I hope so.
We need to see you walking down the street so we can get. We know you, and ask you for your autograph.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That's right. You guys make me a star overnight, right? Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I don't know if the Palms is still open in Minneapolis. That's
I
where
have
we
no
played.
idea.
I always wanted to go back to that club because it was a pretty cool club.
Well, if you ever make it like close to like the Fargo or Grand Forks, that'd even be even better for me because I'm only like
you're in-
2 hours away from Grand Forks and 3 hours away from Fargo, and there's plenty of clubs in
Fargo
Fargo.
would be neat. That's
Yeah.
one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, sure you bet. Yeah, sure you betcha. But there's a lot of clubs there that would definitely take you. If the Blues Fest won't take you, like I tried to help you guys with a few years ago, the clubs will definitely take you.
All right.
So I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys. And for anybody that wants to know more about you, that hasn't that wants to find you or not find you, but like look for you online and all that, how can they do that, Kevin?
www.randyhansen.com.
Okay.
And
All
you know,
right.
you go to Facebook and put in Randy Hansen. Go to YouTube and put in Randy Hansen if you want to watch some great videos. There's lots of ways to find us.
All right. Well, I appreciate it, guys, and just keep on rocking.
Or you can just flash a Jimi Hendrix bat signal and put it up in the sky, and I react to that.
Sure. That'll work. That'll work. I mean, Adam West died, so you're still around, so might as well just do that. Yeah. Are you experienced?
It takes me longer to get my outfit on than Superman, though. It takes me a lot longer to get.
All right. Well, I appreciate it, and take care, you guys. Thank you very much.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Have a good rest of your day.
You
Talk
too.
to you soon, my friend.
Yep. Bye.